At the castle, Maggie is studying for her athletics degree, and Mario barges in with a dragon after him. She throws a dumbbell at the serpent, warding him off, and the reason he was chased was because he and SMG4 were filming a Dark Souls episode. Difficulty aside, is that series legit good? Both of them started an argument over who has the hardest life, but everyone knows it's all on the billionaires for that. So they make a bet to swap routines to determine who has it better. The next day, Maggie slashes her way through a side-scroll level to save Peach, but without the benefits of an on-screen post-game. What? Do you want me to say bake a cake like everyone else? Then Ford drags her to film the usual episode, but she fails to replicate the sadness of her buddy's antics. Meanwhile, Mario takes on Turf Wars, which is easy coming from his experience, but he's also supposed to study for an exam. Though knowing his inability to be a student, she's jeopardizing her grade. Neither of their failures convince them to quit until they make it to the end. Things go our way the further time passes, until they end up in the same spot. Meg is about to give up, but is saved by the bell when Mario screams he's throwing the bed. She celebrates, but leaves her friend in dismay. Understanding being a glorified laughing stock for the camera is as hard as physical fitness and education. Realizing the bed was pointless, the two make up, but the memes Ford's using for filming interrupt their moment and annoy them to the point of retaliation. Chasing them into the hills. This is how our weekly cheesy but charming video ends. 8 out of 10, just your typical Mario Maggie shenanigans with an interesting role reversal. It's a simple video that tests their friendship and puts a spin on the trope of being in someone else's shoes. Maggie's over-accommodative nature does get in the way of their game, but you can make the same case for Mario's refusal for self-improvement. Their personalities are complete opposites, and they can fully control what goes on in their lives. And that's the magic of a fraternal bond. The pacing can be slow depending on who you ask, and the ending is quite funny and lighthearted. The title and thumbnail are a bit misleading though, imply it's shot in first person, which is a nice concept for an episode. But other than that, nothing else to add here. Nope, nothing at all. I'm serious, we're not going through that crap again. Play the next review.
I wish Keanu Reeves was here to save me from the Matrix right now!
The gang are doing their hobbies and Mario barges in asking them to go on another bona fide thriller, but they're all exhausted from having their lives in jeopardy over the last 2-3 years. Psycho suggests he should get a real job to keep him busy, but of course he's allergic to employment, so he's dragged to Karen's office in search of a job. She attempts by letting him use a headset and opens up her computer, warping him in various simulation games to find the one he likes. Here's the following title he goes into. Be warned, all these have the same name. Farming Simulator, City Simulator, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Power Wash Simulator, Rock Simulator, featuring this guy.
It doesn't matter what you think!
Train Simulator, Goat Simulator, PC Build Simulator, Aero Truck Simulator, Universe Simulator. To no avail or surprise, Mario doesn't like any of them, and is still unemployed, trying to make up for it or way to make him leave the building. Karen certifies him as the town idiot, a position that unhinged Italian holds in open arms. No, Viacom, you will not claim this video for the Ocean Man cover. They have enough with copyright dealing damage to the channel, and I'm talking about their last adventure. 9 out of 10. The Simulator franchise with the wacky Mario touch. Honestly, I was holding out for a few of his friends to join in, but that's a minor gripe. I enjoyed every skin in the bunch, my top two being Farming and Goat Simulator. The latter can be a coincidence that that game fits right in with the overall series. People have and arguably still latch on to the psychopathic animals in fiction, All the mundane needs to be interesting is to let your imagination run wild, which hardly anyone tries these days, for the majority takes for granted. That's for sure. Karen's working her Starbucks shift bored out of her mind, but that soon cancels out when the plumber brothers shows up. Luigi orders a latte while Mario wrecks a little chaos in the mall. 3 drops by to use the Wi-Fi since his own joint has its servers on the fritz, and also orders coffee for him and his Ugandan army. But Wheeler, Shumi's grandpa, attempts a robbery making her whip out of a customer service gun, and you can figure out the rest. Karen's boss shows up, appalled at the destruction caused by her customers and a crook on husband's hires, so he fires her for the damages. Context means absolutely nothing to this man unless it makes him money. The cat mother is down one job and tries to find another in order to provide for 3 of her 1,000 children. As far as we know, having 9 lives implies those were far more exciting when she wasn't a parent, and there's potentially a good portion of her kids who have since moved out or are adopted to other families, but I digress. At home, she provides dinner and watches TV with her little ones. One of them, named Zach, decides to be a little shit, begging for more food and messes with his siblings, Katie and Corey, prompting his mom to take away his Roblox privileges. Is it a better choice of his than Fortnite? You decide. After sending them to bed, Karen looks for work online and finds an ad from Luigi offering housekeeping for his brother's house. The next day, Karen enters and noticing Mario's ADHD is cranked up to the 10 and is tasked by the understudy to clean up the mess. Luigi finally asks for outside help regarding Mario's immaturity, probably because their friends were busy or are frankly tired of him. But he's still a pushover when tries to convincing him to calm the hell down. So Karen, thanks to her own kid to action, takes it upon herself to tame the beast and encourage him to stand up to his flesh and blood for once. One trademark sword fight later, they manage to keep the paisano busy by putting him in the cage with Zack, so they can freely clean the place. At least when he comes to his senses, he'll make a new friend. 9 out of 10. Simple and heartwarming with a steady amount of laughs, even with the pesky plumber around. So a Karen episode? Yes! As much as I'm a sucker for her, watching enough Saber Spark can rework your brain in a certain way, I can still pinpoint the flaws in this video. You get to witness part of her everyday life, and her handling as a parent, remembering good parenting thankfully hasn't been extinct yet. I understand that she lives with only 3 kids, because if the other 997 are supposedly unique as they are, we'll never see the end of it. The beginning actually does some world building with the 3 unique characters bouncing off each other in an orthodox way, on top of introducing Kara's kids. Despite Mario's overboard shyness being present, I know I'm not alone in this considering it makes him look unlikable. However, that doesn't mean he's a monster who bullies his friends all the time. I just went over what he'll do whenever they're in trouble, or he recuperates when they bond over a tough moment. Having only one of these traits will make him less interesting than he is now, especially when he's just a comedic relief. You can write him in out easily and the plot wouldn't change as much. But that problem isn't here. I'm not saying his character shouldn't improve, I'm saying don't throw out the baby with the bathwater, pun intended. One bad trait doesn't represent the full quality of the product. If you take in everything else that does it right. To those who understand where I'm coming from, thanks for hearing me out. But if you're actually ignoring my words, well, calmly fuck off. Let's move on to the last review. Four and Mario enter a strange house where they meet the trio sensational web show turned TV series. Duck Guy, Yellow Guy, and Red Guy are at the table discussing emotions, but the 2 paisanos are awkwardly put off by their approach and find the exit. The puppets on a whim considering them their new friends, but they have yet to learn what restraint means at the moment. Mario tells them about boredom as he heads for the door, but Yellow stalls them to keep the party going. Duck starts singing about happiness, which honestly he must be faking. While the duo figure out how to leave, the three catch up to their attention and showcase the emotion of anger. After a failed escape, they're tied down with four dressed as a princess, forcing them to be their parents. Down on their luck, they comply with the puppets by singing a musical number about how they don't need anyone else for a company since each other is enough. In Lightning, they are overwhelmed with true happiness and gladly let Mario and 4 go. Exiting the area, they realize they were stuck inside a McDonald's playhouse, immediately putting the trays behind them and head home. We know now why hardly anyone goes to those anymore. 10 out of 10. A creepy, weird, and charming episode rolled into one. This is a solid take on the Don't Hug Me I'm Scared series. Knowing how freaky and non-YouTube friendly those videos can be, it's not hard to tell why they moved to television. Good on them for making quality Sesame Street parody kids can easily watch. The music video in particular most ever put into this episode, and that could explain this was supposed to be the Halloween special this year, but time constraints forced them to push it back. And it's totally fine to delay a video if it means that it'll be even better. The creators haven't said this as a complete speculation on my end. And just like the real series, it firmly tightropes itself between horror and comedy without actively favoring one over the other. Now I'm considering heading over to my local McDonald's to ask those puppets if they teach anyone who believes collaborating on a video is a bad idea to convince them the opposite. Sorry this came out pretty late, but with real-world responsibilities on your mind 24/7, what can you do? I promise you the December reviews will come right before February at the very least. Unless 2023 will somehow screw up that too. Anyways, appreciate the support regardless if you're new or regular, and as always, take care of yourselves and hope you guys have a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays depending on what you celebrate. And peace out.
Well, how about next time you get a board that can handle the Neutron style? Later!